Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pomku eliminating everybody on the field.
Now I'm between something as well. It's going to be a fly that buff them, and it's going to be huge. Fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
It's over for us. We're hippie and Test now. Testatron actually kind of goes hard. I'll be honest. Wait, I didn't think of that. Testatron? That's kind of... I like that. Alright, I'll stick with it. Either way, let's bring it back in a little bit. I'm glad that my camera is now functional again compared to last week where you could just see about 3 pixels of me. How are you feeling about... okay, don't mention curses when we're together. Don't you do it, alright? Hex.
Okay, we've already doomed ourselves here. But I mean, this is a great matchup we have here. These two teams did really well last season, but both of them started on a little bit of a different kind of starting point this season. Mazz Effect currently 0-1 in the season schedule. Galactic Penguins 1-0, and two very different showings for them in the week one. Actually, Galactic Penguins didn't have a showing.
Yeah.
They had a bye that first week. Mazz Effect, though. Willow, I mean, we were able to talk to the teams before this. Mazz Effect has a hell of a story for week one.
I mean, going through 6 maps, having a tie in your first one, and then also having, I believe, 2 ringers and your flex support off-rolling onto DPS. There goes my camera again, let's just not mind that. It's certainly a starting point for the teams. I think for both Mass Effect and Galactic Penguins going into the match today, this is going to kind of be their actual first match of the season. It's a little bit of copium maybe, but right, one of them's a bye, one of them's with only half of your team even present. It's difficult to feel like that's kind of when we've seen them at their strongest, and they've both said coming into week 2, we want to prove ourselves, alright? We know we didn't get to last time, and now not only are they getting to do it properly with their full teams, but they're going to be on broadcast for it as well. I think for both of them, this is going to be where they try and make their name for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that this is a very early on in the season matchup for these two teams, definitely a matchup we could see later on in the playoffs, maybe once or twice, depending on how both these teams' regular seasons go. I mean, I feel like this is, like you said, it's a great kind of proving ground kind of matchup for them here. Like you said, Mass Effect, they had a couple ringers, not necessarily everyone was there. Not everyone was on full strength as well. They had one person playing on 4 hours of sleep. They had, I believe, a support playing DPS. And for Galactic Penguins, I mean, same thing. This is their first true game, their first real game. I mean, this is exactly what you kind of want here, and this is a great test for both these teams very early on in the season.
I'm going to be hungry for it too, right? Like you say, it's about making a name for yourself, making your stand that we are the team to be keeping an eye on. Other teams afterwards should be a little bit nervous about us. I believe it was Galactic Penguins, they mentioned knowing that Mass Effect are a good team, alright? They've already got their eyes on each other a little bit, saying, yeah, we respect our opponent coming into this match, but when both of them are hungry for it too, that's how you get teams playing at the highest level. Neither one of them has resigned themselves going, they're better than us, and neither one of them is just going to brush it off and say, well, we're far better, so we won't even try. This is probably going to be another giga banger of a series, and I mean, I don't like to waffle on about compositions too much. Don't know if you've noticed that about me, but looking at the kinds of things that these teams like to come out with, it's easy to see that I mean, we might see something a little bit different to what's expected. Some Zarya Sigma has been floated from Galactic Penguins, which is the kind of thing that I really love to see. But then, for Mass Effect, something a little bit more traditional, right? Ramatra, Orisa, Mauga. Do we think that we're even going to see any of that still? He's been nerfed so heavily, but some teams still floating him a little.
I mean, some teams still floating him. Some teams are still using Malga as their main kind of tank here. So I would not be surprised if we do see it throughout the night. But me and you had this conversation before we, came into the booth tonight, that Harmony tier is such a fun tier because a lot of the times, yeah, there's going to be teams that are trying to run meta comps, trying to run what they think is the best. But sometimes, you have players down at this level who can one trick their way to potentially flipping a game in their team's favor. That makes it really interesting to watch.
Yeah, and it's those kinds of mechanical duels as well that you don't often get to see at the higher level, right? We've seen, hero diffs and mechanical diffs from players at the top. It happens, but at the lower really lows, it really does determine the game in a way that composition really just doesn't quite get to. Nevertheless, though, a team at this level with a really good macro understanding, really good team play and synergy, which both of these teams have, right? People who have played together for a long time, who have interacted with each other every day for this Mass Effect. They mentioned, we play Overwatch together, we play Lethal Company, we play Jackbox, we're always hanging out with each other. That's exactly what you're looking for to not just be able to carry in terms of your individual mechanics and playmaking, but also your overall team synergy and the way that you're working together as a group. I think this Harmony tier match is going to give us ample amounts of both. And it's an opportunity for both teams to say, we're not just single-faceted, right? We're not just a mechanical team. We're not just a macro team. We're going to be able to go to any team we come up against with both of our skill sets, and we're going to be taking it to them every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does sound like we're going to be heading into our first map of this series here very soon. And did I hear that right? Did I hear a Nepal being our first map?
I believe so. I mean, you were dreading Li Zhang, so how are you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling great. We're not getting the normal standard Overwatch start here of Li Zhang, but I mean, we still have the great possibility of it being King's Row next. But Nepal, I mean, you can see a lot of different comps on it, but I feel like it's just an insanely fun map to see. And for the most part, you've been seeing a lot of it in OWCS as well. Oh, never mind. We got bamboozled by the players and the teams.
Yep, unfortunately it will not be Nepal, it will actually be Li Zhang. I mean, you mentioned it for Nepal, being able to see a large variety of compositions coming through, but I think it's going to be the same situation for Li Zhang. We're seeing, obviously, in the preview, Control Center floated, which is where those more brawl-intensive comps tend to come out. We also tend to see things over on Night Market, more like Wrecking Ball, which you won't see on many maps at this point. Starting on Control Center, having the Ramatra and the Mauga kind of floated is not surprising in any way, and the Reaper Sim, Junkrat Sim kind of look on those DPS lines. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty standard setup for Control Center. I'm curious about the Lucia Moira. A lot of teams have been floating this, but I think when you're playing a more symmetric Junkrat look, it's just not quite the favorite compared to something a little bit more sustained like Bhakti.
Comes out on that Malga and immediately gets melted down there. Same thing with Dosa. I mean, that's not a great start for them here, and this Ramatra comp is working out great for Mass Effect here, as Galactic Penguins have to just fall back.
Taking control of White Room early, just making sure that they've got the high ground position that they can play around. And now the Ramatra just gets to poke down the Mauga during these long straights. Galactic Penguins having to route towards White Room themselves to try and narrow the corridors.
Yeah, now Eternal coming right back in. He's trying to find a little bit more value this time around, and Blue immediately see them start straight on in, trying to get rid of the Arcane right. They're not going to be able to do that, but Blue will find Bevan. Eternal, they're going to be able to find Levy right there, and that's going to be a great opener there for them. Each team out of the way with one of their support or DPS at the moment, but still it's Mass Effect holding on to the point. Now charging in again, trying to focus in here on Strong. Just going to be able to get rid of them. Actually going to be Dosa taking care of them there. Blue will fall next, and it seems like Galactic Penguins are finally going to be able to clean up a team fight here and take the point.
It's the Mauga just being able to live for as long as the Mauga does. It requires such consistent focus fire if you're going to try and make that happen, and it diverts so many resources. Galactic Penguins did a really good job of just making sure that Eternal was either not looked at or sustained through when it was. Mass Effect, they need to be able to respond a little bit more clean in terms of who they're actually going on in these fights.
Coalescence coming in here from Joseph to get everything started. From Arcane also popping theirs as well. So dueling Coalescence. You see what that does. Both teams not necessarily get one to engage. See that here. Aztec comes through. The Pulsar Barrier comes out. But same thing with that cage right there from Eternal. The Death Ball coming out there from DOM. Gonna be able to find one. Now the beat coming out there from Ana. Just trying to keep their team alive through all this. You see Mazz using that Photon Barrier to perfection. Now the EMP comes out there, able to hit onto a couple members. It does hit onto two. It's gonna be able to find Lee right there. And now it's just Mazz trying to get out with what they can, but Dosa gonna be able to pick up two right now, looking for more. But so far, Galactic Penguins doing a good job pulling them at the scope.
An incredible hold, but it was incredibly expensive. Pretty much every ultimate from Galactic Penguins coming out, and it was just to equalize percentage. 36 now building up to 50 for the Galactic Penguins as opposed to Mass Effect's 36 themselves. Boo has the Riptire available, which if used properly can just be a guaranteed heal-in, but it's so easy to avoid.
And as you say, easy to avoid, easy to destroy right there. Dom able to get rid of him right there. That's going to force Mass Effect here to back up a little bit already. Octobot going into that Nemesis form, trying to do whatever damage they can. But again, it's Dosa going to be able to fight strong to get everything started here. But you see Octobot head straight on the point right now, and Mass Effect trying to take the point right back there. However, though, right on the point and keep it in their control. Now the Coalescence coming out here from Dosa will be able to find one. And look what that does for everyone else there for Galactic Penguins. Leads to 2 more kills, and it should be a point retained for them.
And Galactic Penguins, they're now in a position where they just have to win one more fight to seal off the map. Mass Effect, they can use their Coalescence, they could build up to the beat for the last one here, but Galactic Penguins, if they wanted to just give it up, they could. It looks like they want to take it to them anyway.
I mean, they kind of have to right now, but will we even see a touch here from Mass Effect? No, we will not. And the swaps, they're late, not going to be able to help them get to that point. Galactic Penguins, I mean, they had that one team fight coming out of the gate, had that Malcolm comp kind of get shut down, but then they came right back in and just completely took control of that first point.
And Control Center is just so good for that, being able to abuse the kinds of corners that you're playing around. The White Room, you know, is so strong. You usually perhaps expect to see the Remacha fare a little bit better, but I think Mass Effect struggling to find which angles they were able to push in on, and Galactic Penguins doing a really good job of constantly applying pressure. We saw there, Mass Effect tried to set up the TP to get to the point, but immediately Bevan was there on the Sombra, putting in pressure, stopping anyone from being able to take it super easily. Eternal there, backing up the Sombra as well. And Galactic Penguins, they're doing a really good job of making sure that Mass Effect just can't position themselves to rotate with this round.
Dueling TP's on the point right now in either of the windows. The fight is heavy on it right now. You see the TP's coming out through already. That grab will be able to suck down everyone there from Galactic Penguins. Must be gone. Finding the first 2 picks. That beam is charged up and ready to go. Octobot gonna be able to find one there, but Ana with a huge move right there, getting rid of Octobot. Galactic Penguins now having their tank in this fight, puts them in the best scenario to win it here. And once they get wrecked strong, they're gonna be able to easily take control of the point.
Eternal's health bar basically never runs out of armor health throughout that whole fight. Working off both the overhealth and the sustain that there's there for the Galactic Penguins. It's the same story as last time. If you're not going to burn down this Mauga, you cannot afford to let your tank get taken out. A lovely little boot from Orna just to force out the Remacha and find that immediate kill. And now Galactic Penguins, they get to just reap the reward of finding that percentage straight away.
Yeah, the fake TP coming out there from Mass Effect. Galactic Penguins not necessarily buying it right there. And I mean, Galactic Penguins is just so set up right now, especially with those symmetric charges being able to penetrate some damage right there. But now it's going to be Gom finding the first pick here. I mean, Boo will find Gom right back to evenly fan out, but now Eternal starts just to take over the field. That damage coming in from them, the health coming in from them as well. It's just a little bit too much. And Octobot just decides to jump off the map instead rather than continuing that fight.
I mean, a quick reset for the Remacha is kind of the mercy that you need to have. Orna getting another boop off the map there would mean the Lucio already had sound barrier available, and at the moment, Krunk is actually in the advantageous position of having the beat before Galactic Penguins have one of their own. Eternal's cage fight could be the thing to force it out, but over to the Kiriko now, Arcane doesn't have an ultimate for a while.
But I like Octobot swapping over here to the Orisa. This is what we've kind of seen in OWC as to try to slow down this Mauga a little bit right here. Gom very low, has to fall back here. But now again, they're able to get those turrets set up, and you do see them causing some problems. Leave it up in that back, very low on health, just looking for something to keep them alive here now. 70% here for Galactic Penguins aspect. He gets something going towards the point, but Cage Fight does come out there from Eternal, trapping it what looks like to be Green. However, you just see Mass Effect trying to do whatever they can to beat. Now the EMP from Bevan comes out as well. They're going to be able to hit onto a couple on. They're going to be able to find Blue to get everything started here. And you just see the Galactic Penguins charging in with no fear. Already 2 members down from Mass Effect. And at this point, if you're Mass Effect, you're just looking for a touch.
90% already gone. Boo gets the Blizzard cancelled out by Bevan's EMP as well. There's only the Photon Barrier from Gone, but Dota's going to be able to build up to a Coalescence. Optibot back in the ball. Should be able to touch, but nope. Not quite there in time.
A great opening map here for the Galactic Penguins. I mean, they had that one little misstep that we talked about with that first engagement on Control Center. But then ever since then, it was all Galactic Penguins all the way. Mass Effect, I mean, it seemed like they really struggled going into this Valve comp. And honestly, I feel like sticking on that Ramatra was maybe a bad thing there. Just didn't necessarily find the value they could there. And especially once they went to that Nemesis form, Eternal just had free reign to just rain bullets into them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like we talked about, that kind of mix of individual mechanics and also macro play that teams around the Harmony tier are going to be a little bit more unfamiliar with than the Ascendant that we cast last decks. I think when we come into this match and we're looking at the way that teams are addressing Malga in particular, it's just so important to remember that he is huge, with so much like hitbox size, but coupled with that, a sheer amount of armor health, over health that you have to work through, all the cooldowns that you have to break through. Couple that with the Moira, the Lucio, just able to pump in the amp and the orbs, the Coalescence. Coalescence building so quickly as well, it's very difficult to uproot a Malga once in position. These first fights that Mass Effect have been kind of able to find, it feels like they've not been able to capitalize off the back of that and find the value you would otherwise expect. And I think that's largely down to the fact that the Malga isn't being uprooted, right? That Malga just gets to sit there, live forever, continue to chunk in damage, continue to build up overhealth. It is going to be a monumental effort to turn around and say, okay, maybe Gom's Symmetra isn't the thing we need to go for first, right? It's squishy, it's vulnerable, but the Malga has to die. Otherwise, Optibot is just going to get burned out of cooldowns, burned out of resources. Like you said, once the Nemesis form is gone, the Ramatra is incredibly vulnerable. Sure, you can have that shield for a little bit. Malga can just charge through it and continue to burst in the damage. It's very difficult to get through, and I think for the Galactic Penguins, they've been playing around that cooldown cycling really cleanly, and Mass Effect, they're going to have a difficult job responding.
Yeah, and, you know, coming into this game here, we talked about it as, you know, this was kind of a proving ground for both these two teams here. Galactic Penguins didn't play that first week, had that bye, 1-0 because of it. And Mass Effect, I mean, they played all over the place. A 6-map series, people playing, they had a couple ringers, it sounds like. They had people playing off roles. And now that everyone's back on their normal roles here, maybe, you know, it's going to take maybe that first map to get warmed up back into that a little bit. Yeah, you probably scrimmed a little bit, but this is now a different kind of scenario where you're actually playing the game that counts, and added on to that, it's on stream. So maybe, you know, a little bit of just rust for this team early. I really want to see how they bounce back, though, in our second map.
I mean, it's important to note that both of these teams do have veteran players compared to perhaps what you'd usually expect in the Harmony tier of people just kind of coming in and getting tournament experience. They have that pre-established synergy, they have that veterancy experience, and like you said, for Galactic Penguins, maybe they got a bye last week, but that just gives them another opportunity to scrim, another opportunity for them to find things that they can work on in that downtime. Mass Effect, they were still having to play, but they were having to play something that wasn't their usual, and that can really get with your head a little bit when you then go into the next match, especially if Mass Effect were kind of thinking themselves as the favorites going into this, like, you didn't even see us at our true form. I think now they have to realize that Galactic Penguins are just as much here to play to win as Mass Effect are, and if they don't turn this around, it's going to slip away from them.
Yep. Okay, Willow, take a guess where we're going for our map 2.
I mean, we know, alright? We both know. Yeah, look, I don't dislike it, right? Kings
I don't dislike
fine.
it either. It's fun. It's fine. It's fun. It's expected. And honestly, I mean, this is kind of what we expect for the majority of games here. Kings Row is going to be our second map of the night, and you see it a lot because guess what? Everyone has played this map. Yeah. Since the launch of Overwatch 1, since the beta of Overwatch 1. And there hasn't been much changes to this map because, honestly, a lot of people say that it might be the best map in the game, and I'm not disagreeing with them, but it's definitely the most overplayed map in the game. But, I mean, heading into it, we always think Brawl here. The Ramatra, I mean, Ramatra, they play it like a Brawl, but you can also kind of play it like a Poke as well because of those chain guns, just how far you can actually shoot, especially if you're only shooting one, it's still like a laser beam. Just what do you necessarily think we are going to see here? Do you think we're going to see more Malga? Do you think we're going to see that Ramatra come back out, maybe dueling Orissas? Because that's kind of been the go-to for a lot of teams in higher tiers.
Well, we saw Optibot going over towards the Malga at the end of that last point, so I think if Mass Effect is specifically taking Galactic Penguins to Kings Row, knowing that they're probably just going to keep running the Mauga themselves, I'm expecting the mirror more so than anything else. I think it would be really unexpected and weird for Mass Effect to kind of come out with a dive look on Kings. I know Kings is often associated with just Brawl, but it is entirely possible to get the dive going here, especially on first point where you're able to play around those high grounds, but from Galactic Penguins, all they need to do is anchor down on their defense, make sure that they're going to be able to stick there with the Mauga permanently. It's the same kind of deal on the attack, and yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to be seeing, right? Immediately, Mauga coming through, Eternal floating the Wrecking Ball. I'd be very surprised if it's stuck on that. But Octobot sticking on the Mauga for now for the defense, yeah. You just bunker yourself towards the backup point, maybe play for statue if you're feeling spicy, and then turn around and leg it once Galactic Penguins start getting too close. The real pain point, I believe, here is going to be the DPS line. We can see both Sombras currently in the playing field. That cage fight also effective at disabling... that EMP also effective at disabling cage fight. Gom on the Torbjorn compared to Boo on the Reaper. I mean, these heroes have kind of been interchangeable, but Torb is just that little bit more cooldown dependent than the Reaper, and yeah, I like Gom switching off of that in the end.
Yeah, they were just teasing us there with those picks. But I mean, it's a mirror match across the board here, and it's kind of what we expected. I mean, Galactic Penguins, this comp worked wonders for them on that first map. Now Mass Effect, we didn't necessarily see the Mauga for long. I want to see how they play with it here, and you're looking for, you know, Boo to find the value. You're looking for Levy to find the value here as well, but Galactic Penguins just go straight through the concierge or hotel lobby and try to take a tick there, but not going to be able to. Good job there by Mass Effect, force them off the point back into the lobby. Bevin, though, going to be able to find Octobot, and that's not who you want to see fall first, your Mass Effect, because now the rest of the team is going to fall like dominoes here, or they're just going to play around corners like they are here.
Yeah, Mass Effect a little bit slow to respond to Galactic Penguins' rotation. Eventually the cooldown cycling catches Octobot out. The trades are going even so far, but the attackers are going to have the advantage when the respawns come through, and it looks like Galactic Penguins relatively comfortable on the point for now. Octobot setting up to maybe come back in, maybe once giving over a couple of ticks, but Dosa just kind of taking a little bit of poke at the moment.
Galactic Penguins are going to be able to cap the first point right there, so not going to see that last second touch there from Octobot. Actually, we're not even going to see Octobot at all as Eternal takes care of them right there, and that is not how you want to start this fight here for Mass Effect, because now the Galactic Penguins is going to be going in, trying to clean up the rest of Mass Effect, so they can have a pretty easy first part of this push here.
Mass Effect need to, I mean, we talked about it last time as well, it's initiative, it's knowing that you're just going to stand there and take damage, you're feeding over ultimate to the enemy team, and we can see it already. Dosa has the Coalescence up, Gom with the Death Blossom as well, and Bevan's EMP all in play. Octobot only 60% towards the cage fight, so for Galactic Penguins, they can feel somewhat comfortable just dumping ults into this next fight, winning it out anyway. 4.5 minutes to go through streets is a huge time bank for them to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm looking at those two EMPs, because do you use them before the fight, or early in the fight, or do you use them when those cage fight comes up? Because that's a great way to cancel out a couple of those huge ultimates right there. But now, those are going to start off with that Coalescence League Death Blossom coming out in the background there. Gom going to be able to find Krung, not going to be able to find Boo, but oh, the EMP finds 5! Arcane going to be able to find Bevan right there, but can they find more here for Mass Effect? Just healing up whoever they can here at the moment, but you're down your Mauga, but hey, you're able to force back Galactic for a moment, but Eternal immediately finds Boo right there, and oh, how the tables have turned now. Galactic Penguin just going in, finding the kills.
This is something Galactic Penguins have been doing incredibly well, which is acknowledging when they're down, backing out for a second until their cooldowns come back, and then re-engaging whilst Mass Effect are still on the back foot, thinking, they're not here, so we're safe for a moment. It's done a really good job. We can see the spy checking coming through, but I don't believe the Sombra is quite there.
Bevan, though, does have that EMP, does land it on the 11, and Octobot does have that cage right ready to go, but incredibly low on health, will be taken out, but that cage will stay. Death Blossom coming out from Boo, not going to be able to find anyone. Instead, it'll be the dueling Reaper of Gom, going to be able to find them, and point B already capped here for Galactic Penguins. 5 minutes on the time bank.
It's a really nice response from Orna. The beat just cancelling out everything entirely. Mass Effect invested everything to make that fight some kind of stand. 5 minutes now. Going into third, Galactic Penguins have more time than when the map started by a pretty significant margin. So for Mass Effect, they really need to find their footing.
And I mean, now you're seeing some swaps come out here from Mass Effect. You see Octobot going over to that Orisa. Boo going over to a May, a very interesting swap here. I want to see how that really works out for them, because I feel like you're trying to use those ice walls to section off Eternal away from the rest of the team. But you can sit, but Eternal just has so much viability to get away from that right there. And now Galactic Penguins, I mean, we're already not even a minute into this card push here. They're already in the home stretch right now. The Dosa, they're going to be able to use that Coalescence for them just for a moment, not going to be able to find a lot. Gom does have the Death Blossom, but oh, going to be javelined out of it right there. Great denial there by Optibot, getting rid of two huge ultimates very early on here for our Mazz effect.
It was a really nice hack as well coming through from Levy to deny the Coalescence, but Eternal going back in with the cage fight. This is what we talked about, re-engaging again. EMP's there to match.
EMP denies the cage fight, fine for they're able to find Eternal right there, and now Galactic Penguins on the back foot. Gom going to be able to find one here, but that's going to be the only thing that Galactic Penguins gets in this fight.
And it feels like it's the first fight that Mazz Effect have won on King's Row. They're now going to have the ult advantage as well. Terror Surge, Kitsune Rush, and Blizzard all coming in. Bevan's EMP is there to cancel out one of them, deny value from one of them, but it can only get one, so as long as Mazz Effect don't overlay them too heavily, we should be able to see value here.
EMP comes out, does hit onto 3. Optibot kicking out immediately. Arcane gonna be able to use that switch stuff to keep themselves alive. The Ice Wall gonna come out here, but Krung gonna be able to find Bevan right back. Arcane finds Gom. A great start here for Mazz Effect. The Blizzard gonna be able to come out fine on her right there, and that will stop Galactic Penguins with this team fight when Mazz Effect now eating off 2 minutes off that time bank.
Eternal manages to get out alive though, which perhaps would be a little bit bigger if Honor and Dota didn't already have ultimates built up. It does mean that there's going to be, that opportunity to deny ult charge from Mazz Effect as the Mauga just runs away. Eternal actually going over to the Zarya now. This is something that Galactic Penguins mentioned they might try and run. It's going to put all the more pressure onto Optibot, who now has to play around Bevan's Maywalls and the beam from Eternal, which will not be denied by any of Arisa's cooldowns.
Absolutely, it will also allow a little bit more aggressive play to come out here, but now both support ultimates coming out here from Galactic Penguins. Gom gonna be able to get Octobot out of here early on. That's not who you want to see fall off your Mazz Effect. Mazz Effect actually investing into this fight here with their own beat there from Krung. Galactic Penguins are still looking for anything they can get here, and they are still pushing it. Arcane very low here, but the Death Blossom comes out. Will be able to find 2 there before they get hacked out of it. Still a lot of value there for Gom. Galactic Penguins now in the home stretch. Levy has his EMP ready to go, but Eternal spots them coming in from the heavens. Not going to be able to get that EMP off. Optibot coming right back out. Arcane there going to be able to support the Krung back as well. Boo also there as well. Can ice block for a moment here, just waiting for Levy to come back. But actually, Levy, I think they tried to use their EMP in that last fight. They don't have it anymore. You see Galactic Penguins just picking off Mazz Effect one by one, all the way until they complete the map with 1:43 in the time bank.
Really clean cleanup from Galactic Penguins, but it feels like Mazz Effect kind of dug their own grave. It was just a matter of time, considering just how much time Galactic Penguins had to get through streets and to get through third. Being able to hold them for about 3 minutes there is impressive, but you were wishing you weren't in that situation in the first place. 1:43 isn't an insurmountable time bank for Mazz Effect to be able to respond to, but it's crucially over that 1 minute threshold. If Mazz Effect wants to be able to go through the rest of the map here and find a win and no more ties like they had last week, they're going to have to be convincing in their own attack. And considering what we saw from First and Streets, I'm a little bit worried for them as they go into their own attack. Optibot sticking on this Orisa I don't think would be the worst thing in the world, but there's just so much value that the Mauga finds from being able to stick on the point for so long, bunker down for so long. The Orisa is usually trying to do the same, but it feels like at this level, the Mauga is just more successful because there's not the focus fire that you'd usually need to be scared of by being so big and so easy to shoot. Galactic Penguins sticking with what they knew, sticking with what's comfortable. No more Mei on the field this time, but the Sombra Reaper is back. That Sombra from Bevan has been lethal, but honestly, Levy's has also been fantastic. We've seen crucial ultimates hacked out, cancelled with the EMP. It was just unfortunate at the very end that the Sombra was the only one who could touch. The EMP gets cancelled out through an EMP Jax, and Mazz Effect starting on the Genji. I'm interested, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm very interested as well, and I want to talk about Optibot coming out on this Orisa. I feel like it's a little bit different when you're playing that offensive Orisa against that defensive Orisa, because Optibot on this Orisa on the defensive side did force Eternal off the Mauga here, and so far, I mean, they're having to fall back here a little bit just because of all that damage that Galactic Penguins can put out here pretty early, and they're trying to just peek their head through the choke, but once they do that, I mean, Galactic Penguins comes right back out, the charge coming in there from Eternal, they get Javelin away, but they're just going to fall back to safety. Gom, though, able to escape their life.
As a fact, they have to take the initiative now, though. Galactic Penguins invested cooldowns there, but they're taking a long rotation now. Galactic Penguins are going to have time to build them back, and we can see the Cardiac Overdrive from Eternal already there. They're going to be able to re-engage before even a single tick.
And Dosa already has that Coalescence ready to go here. Deflect coming out there early from Boo, but that cannot deflect that Coalescence to Javelin, though. Going to come out there. I believe it did hit on to Dosa, ending that Coalescence right there. Optibot, though, and does have that Terror Surge ready to go. Is able to capture a lot in there. Not going to be able to fight anyone just yet, but doing a hell of a lot of damage. Bevan will be the first one to fall. Consumer Rush coming out here from Arcane. And if you're Mazz Effect, this is your go button. This should be what ends this fight and taps you this point. But they're slowly picking up members of the Galactic Penguins, but it should end up with a point cap for them.
With both the Moira and the Lucio now going so incredibly low, it should mean they don't really get to re-engage even, but Eternal is just not dying. Okay, at last.
Finally, Mazz Effect able to clean that one up there. Gonna give themselves a good time bank here as well on the second point. And I mean, I had my doubts about this Orisa and especially this Genji, but hey, proving me wrong there on that first fight. Did a really great job, honestly.
If you're able to play your Genji to just mark the Sombra, right, your Sojourn to mark the Reaper, all you're really trying to do is make sure that they're not finding value with their own DPS picks. Eternal now over onto the Zarya, it's the similar situation, right? The Zarya's there to try and counter out the Orisa, and also the Genji now as well, whilst providing the bubbles for players like Gom who are going to want to engage in with this Death Blossom this fight.
And Bevan does have this EMP as well. They're looking to use it right now. They're going to land onto all 5. And Autumn already finds 2 early on the Lucio, finding all the kills so far. Going to be able to try to back Eternal out of that one. Gom going to be able to find Krung. Bevan finds Arcane. And now Galactic Penguins going to be able to hold at Arches.
Just one ultimate even, there was no response from Mass Effect, just stood grouped up in front of an EMP, you know, it's gonna happen, we can see here. Boo spotting out Bevan, forcing the Sombra out early, but Galactic Penguins, it's the same story. Now they've got an ultimate that they can play around.
Death Blossom comes in, and oh no, that is an Ajax right there on the Krung from Gom. But now the Blade coming out here from Boo, but it's a little bit too late. Autumn will take care of them with a boop of their own, and Mazz Effect, one ultimate use there, basically gonna shut down 3 of them from Galactic Penguins.
And Bevan actually going over to the main now just to increase the sheer amount of pressure on this Archway choke. I would imagine Eternal giving up a little bit of space here, but Galactic Penguins, even if they push the card a little, they're not going to find huge value. What are we so scared of here? It seems like we're trying to spy check something, but not finding anything yet. Eternal just waiting for the team to come back and giving up all this space to Galactic Penguins.
And right now, Eternal might be the scariest player on the field. Yeah, Dosa's using this Coalescence, but that beam is 100%, and they have a grab ready to go. This is a very, very scary situation right now for Mazz Effect here, as you just see Galactic Penguins walking into the Mazz Effect team, finding the picks they need.
That time Beat and Coalescence no longer available, so slowly, ultimates are getting whittled down. Mazz Effect, Galactic Penguins, I mean, these two teams we were hoping were going to clash against each other with a real battle of the titans, but 2.5 minutes compared to Mass Effect 5, it's looking a little bit less confident than perhaps we were hoping.
Yeah, absolutely right now. And oh, Eternal going to be able to find Arcane out early. Dosa shuts down Levy, and I mean, that's a lot of your damage already out. And Levy actually popped their overclock right there. That is not what you wanted there for Mass Effect.
Oh, and it's just Bevan, Gom, Eternal all finding the value off their cooldowns. Orna applying the amplification speed whenever it's needed for Galactic Penguins to both get in and get out. And Mass Effect, they're having a real difficult time responding. This is that difference between macro play and mechanical that we were talking about in the setup. If you're able to do both of those, it is such a deadly combination at this elo, because Mass Effect, it feels like they're struggling to know how to respond to this. As Galactic Penguins, they're just playing around each other so well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Galactic Penguins team is a scary team no matter what, but right now, it seems like Mass Effect just doesn't know what to do into them here, and oh, you do not want to be locked in an alleyway right there, especially with Eternal having this highly charged beam. The Blizzard can come out here from Bevan. Gom immediately finds Levy right there. No one can get frozen, but it does split up the team there for Mass Effect, and you just see them all falling one by one, just like dominoes.
The Moira as well that goes down, so if Galactic Penguins want to push the aggression, they have the opportunity to do so. It does look like Mass Effect are going to be able to get out the Lucio living, means you can disengage cleanly, but it's the same situation. One ultimate, one fight, 1 minute left now for Mass Effect to be able to turn this around. They've got an ult bank of their own that's colossal, but they still have to get through just this Archway choke to make it happen.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Less than a minute on the clock. A nice ice wall there from Bevan. And Gom gonna pop the Death Blossom right there. Finds 2 Eternal Dosa, finding 2 more. And that's a team kill for the Galactic Penguins. And only 40 seconds on the clock for Mass Effect.
Team kill and 2 ultimates for Gom, both the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier getting Ajaxed there from the Death Blossom. This is the second time now that Krunk has lost it to the Blossom. It's such an unfortunate position to find yourself in, and the Galactic Penguins, they're now going to be able to build up to a grab as well with no defensive ultimates to worry about.
But this is exactly what Mass Effect needed to do here. They need to play fast as Blizzard, and especially with his Annihilation that Optibot does have. Needs to be able to find some picks here, but they're out. Gonna be able to find Bevan to start. Now the Annihilation comes out, immediately finds Dosa, and they're trying to get rid of Anna and Gom. Not gonna be able to find them just yet, though, but they're able to start pushing the cart again. Eterna, though, did fall, and they did use their grab.
Yeah, grab gone, and Mass Effect have the opportunity to hold close towards 30. If they all back up towards the bot, I'm going to be very upset. You just want your Lucio there. You have to hold the space. Now that you've finally won it, Galactic Penguins, no ultimates to try and break this, so in the neutral, it's just Mass Effect needing to win out here.
Yeah, I mean, Mass Effect, they are very close to a Coalescence. Gom, though, is close to a Death Blossom as well, but Arcane should be able to build up to their ultimate faster here. I mean, this should be a fight that Mazz should win here, but again, they're just looking for any opening they can right now. Galactic Penguins, though, just throwing all caution to the wind, playing very aggressive. Gom does have that Death Blossom ready to go, but a nice boop there by Krunk to get them away. Bevan, though, gotta be able to find Levy out. Now the Blizzard coming out there from Bevan, gotta be able to freeze 2-1 down. Optibot not looking so good either. Gom will take care of them, and this is the beginning of the end here for this fight, and the beginning of the end here for this map. Galactic Penguins gonna go up 2-0 heading into our break.
Galactic Penguins, they recognize that they have the opportunity to just keep pushing the aggression. They don't need to be careful, because even if Mass Effect do cap out second, they're not going to have as much time as Galactic Penguins did when we get to third. By the time they cap it out, they're still going to be in the lead. So yeah, play super aggressive. Catch Mass Effect out with your speed, see if you can build up to ultimates and use them, and that's exactly what we saw happen. Mass Effect struggling to respond yet again. Bevan able to build up to a blizzard that there was no response for, and just once again it was a free walk for Galactic Penguins. They've been playing so fast and so forward. They've been taking the initiative each time, it feels like, and setting the tempo throughout both maps we've seen so far. For Mass Effect, they need to come up with a response.
Yeah, and there's been times where, you know, they've been able to look really good. I mean, that first fight, they're on their offensive round, they're on King's Row. I mean, they were able to play with speed after they got through that choke point, win that first point in one fight, but they weren't able to keep that up. I mean, that was the best they were looking, and I was thinking maybe they turn the corner, maybe they'll be able to shut down the Galactic Penguins here for a little bit, complete the map force and overtime, but all Galactic Penguins needed was one team fight to go their way, and they never really gave up arches.
No, being able to hold that choke for so long, especially once Bevan does go over to the May, when you're not seeing a Malga on the field, you don't have to be so worried about having EMP for that cage fight, and if you're going to be able to Ajax beat every single time with your Death Blossom, it's an incredibly difficult choke for Mass Effect to be able to try and push through, and Galactic Penguins did an incredible job of holding it like they did. It's honestly a little rare at the moment to see teams hold Archway that effectively, so full commendation to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But with that being the end of our second map, we are going to give the teams a 5-minute break here before we head into our third map of the series. Make sure y'all stick around for that. All right, welcome back everyone from that long extended break right there. Sorry about that was on our end, but these two teams are ready to get going here with our third and potentially final map of the night. And Willow, we are not going to Saravasa, we're going to New Junk City.
Which is, I mean, exciting for me. I like New Junk City overall. I do think it is quite a brawl-intensive map, and it's interesting, I think, that Mass Effect are taking us to these versions of maps that are kind of favoring the usual compositions we see from Galactic Penguins, bringing out Optibot on the Junk Queen this time with Levi, Tracer, Boo, Genji. I mean, coming up with the Kiriko as well, this is much more of that Junker Queen rush style that is usually classic for Flashpoint in particular, but Galactic Penguins, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, except Eternal, now on the Sombra and Big Man Monkey over on the Ramatra.
Yeah, so it looks like they had one change right then. I do like this. I mean, they did tell us that their players are very flexible, and I mean, swapping roles, yeah, that's very flexible right there. And Optibot getting a nice axe swing right there, already doing a lot. And now, again, I mean, Big Man Monkey gets incredibly low, but going to be able to use that Cardiac Overdrive to keep themselves alive here from Mass Effect. Early on, starting to take some space, and looks like they might take the first point.
It's the same T-plane we've seen from Galactic Penguins before, though as soon as those cooldowns are back up, they're going to be re-engaging, and we can see them setting up the aggression already.
And now Big Man Monkey charges in right there. Mass Effect going to be able to cap the point first here, but they do lose Optibot. Krung going to be able to fall on them. Dosa using that coalescence going to be able to find Dire Raven. And now Mass Effect, I mean, in a very bad spot, just trying to stall the point as long as they can.
And this is the major difference when you're running the Kiriko or the Moira, as opposed to the other. The Moira is building up Coalescence so much faster than the Kiriko is going to build up to Kitsune Rush. Krunk only at 62% now, Dosa already 30% to another Coalescence. You can rely on the Kitsune Rush to be an immediate fight winner, kind of an automatic key for you to get to victory, but the Coalescence comes up so often that you can just use it to catch teams out, as Mass Effect were caught out there.
Absolutely, but now the Pulse one can come out there from Levy, not going to be able to find anything there. Ono does have that beat ready to go in there. Probably going to use it here to try to cancel out this blade, but instead they get Ajax out of it. Krung not the only one to Ajax now in this series. Boo going to be able to find two of that one there. Gom will find Optibot, but that might be the only thing the Penguins find.
Point caps, or flips rather, as well, now 33% in building for Mass Effect. Really good for them to be able to get onto the objective there, because it meant that even if Big Man Monkey tried to stall on the Mauka, it would have been when Mass Effect were already in control, so denying that usual stall potential from the Mauka was critical to making sure that they could build up this percentage.
Yeah, and I mean, Mass Effect, they're looking really good right now, and it might be because Galactic Penguins, yeah, made those two swaps there, and just trying to get used to playing right now, since Big Man Monkey has not played, I think, this entire series. You guys said, but the Kitsune Rush coming out here from Krunk, going to be able to keep Optibot alive. Levy, though, in that backline, going to be able to stay alive. Death Blossom comes out, but the beat from Dire Raven going to be able to come through. The EMP, though, does land onto 4 there. The Rampage comes out. Big Man Monkey going to be able to find Dire Raven. Optibot trace it back out, though, onto Dosa, who had that Colossus ready to go, but Big Man Monkey pops that cage fight. Gonna lose their own life here, but they do retake the point through all of it, but still Galactic Penguins is a very uphill battle from here on out. Gom just trying to focus onto anyone right now. Almost gonna be able to find Levy there. It will be Eternal though, but Optibot taking over the field. A triple kill, a retake, and that should be point 1 going over to Mazz.
Galactic Penguins immediately make the composition swap. I didn't dislike the Mauga, but I think going into what Mass Effect were running, they were struggling a little bit more than we've seen previously in being able to respond to the kind of engagements that Mass Effect were running. Eternal on the May and Big Man Monkey now on the Zarya means they're going to have a little bit more point pressure to deal with this Junker Queen.
Yeah, absolutely. Dosa, though, does have this Coalescence ready to go. If they want to try to play a little bit aggressive early here. Well, both teams just kind of fighting for the high ground. Nice ice wall there from Eternal as that Coalescence comes out here from Dosa. Boo gets incredibly low, but the shell can be able to keep them alive here for the moment, but they will get started to get healed up here by their supports. Big Man Monkey going to be able to find Levy to get everything going here. And without that Tracer, that backline pressure is almost gone, and you see what it does there to Mass Effect. It's Galactic Penguin just start cleaning up.
The Penguins, they're going to have the sound barrier as well to be able to try and hold this point, but Mass Effect going to be able to re-engage with Blade and Rush, apologies, which means that the beat will probably not find as much value as you usually expect. You're looking now at Gom and Eternal to build up to Blizzard and Pulse Bomb. Try and deny some of the space, find an early pick with that Pulse, or deny all the Kitsune Rush with the Blizzard. For Galactic Penguins, it's just a matter of holding. They don't have to take it fast if they don't want to, but Mass Effect, already having one Flashpoint up, finding a second would be huge for them here.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them that confidence, and especially as we were talking about during the break, I mean, did Mass Effect have a chance in this series? If we were just kind of saying, well, what we've seen, not really. Boo, though, gonna be able to pop the blade, immediately find one. Ana gonna be able to get out that beat here for the first time. Dosa and Eternal immediately find 2 picks off of it right there. Optibot, though, gonna be able to trade out Ana, but it's Eternal cleaning up the fight, and now, oh, Optibot's gonna be staggered.
A merciful kill from Galactic Penguins, who had full opportunity to just try and draw out that Junker Queen there. Optibot stopped fighting back. A kind of critical mistake if Galactic Penguins had decided not to even let the Junker Queen die there. But Mass Effect probably not even going to be able to get a touch, and 1-1 now in terms of flashpoints. They'll go into the next with ultimates, but Levy, having the Pulse Bomb to match Gom's could be the fight turner for either team here.
Yeah, but Eternal has this Blizzard ready to go here, and Dire, I mean, they don't have a beat ready to cancel it out, so you're really banking on Krung here to kind of use that Suzu to get everyone out of it.
Suzu, though, obviously once it's out, means it's going to be free for something else. That's usually what Gom's Pulse Bomb is going to be forcing, especially now that there's no Zarya to force bubbles at the same time. Krunk's Suzu should go to denying the Pulse Bomb, and that should then give Eternal the opportunity to catch someone out with Blizzard. It's going to be going to the macro that we've been praising Galactic Penguins for as they get set up.
Yeah, and you see Gom, I think, taking on this Tracer duel with Levy in that side fight right there, but now that just allows them to go in. Levy, they're going to be able to win in that duel against Gom. They do mess their own Pulse Bomb into it. Eternal, they're going to be able to trade it out to Boo, so even across the board, but Mass Effect, they'll be able to cap the point here first, but now Galactic Penguin just collapsing in on them. Already find Krung right there, and now down goes Dosa. Dire Raven not going to use that beat to keep themselves alive.
Mass Effect position up really close to that choke to try and hold it, but going into Eternal's May, you just run the risk of getting caught out by that wall, and that's exactly what we saw happen. For Mass Effect, they have the opportunity to play more of a poke game here, especially when Big Man Monkey is still building up to the energy that the Zarya wants to find. Optibot now going back over to the Ramatra that we saw earlier in the series, and Boo mirroring the May is going to give them that opportunity to play both the Brawl and the poke that they seem to be favoring.
Yeah, and look at Galactic Penguins right now. I mean, 4 ultimates ready to go. Only the beat here for Mass Effect. I mean, that beat's going to be able to keep him alive through 1 ultimate. Not going to be able to keep him alive through multiple ultimates here, but it's not going to be able to keep Krung alive. The Pulse Bomb will come out there on and leave it to basically get rid of that beat that Dire Raven just threw out onto them here, and now the Colas is coming out here from Dosa. Ana very low, but Gom going to be able to find Boo in that backline, and now you just see Mass Effect mercifully give up that fight.
And Galactic Penguins, they're going to find another flashpoint off the back of it. We were talking about ults and the way that they could utilize them. We saw them utilized incredibly well, but not well enough to be able to stop this flashpoint going over to the Galactic Penguins. 2-1 up in this map is not the situation that Mass Effect are wanting to find themselves in, especially considering how strong they looked at the start of New Junk City as we go towards what could very well be the last point of the entire series here. Mass Effect, they need to find their footing again, and Optibot switching off that usual composition that we've been seeing earlier from the Junker Queen, I think it shows a little bit of a lack of confidence, and Galactic Penguins happy to take advantage.
And I mean, look at what the Galactic Penguins are doing. They're setting up for the grab here. It's going to be a huge one. Captures 4, but the Ice Wall going to be able to keep it alive here for the moment. Actually be able to keep it alive through the entire thing right there. Pulse Bomb going to come out there from Levy. Not going to be able to find anyone. Ana does have that beat ready to go here. They're going to be able to use it here just to try to keep their team alive through this fight. Boo now in a bad spot, actually stuck in an ice ball as Big Man Monkey finds Siren, but the coalescence from Krong finds one, leads to a second one there as Boo finds Dosa here. And now Mass Effect here. If you can find one more pick, you probably cap this point here, and Boo's going to invest the Blizzard into it. Or are they going to be able to get a freeze out of it? It looks like they're not going to be able to, but still they're finding the picks they need here. And Eternal, they use their own Blizzard as well.
It simply uses the Blizzard and finds just that slow tick damage onto Boo at the same time. For both teams, using such an extensive amount of their ults before the flashpoint had even been capped is certainly an investment, but if your opponents are going to keep doing it, sure, do it yourselves. The key thing now is going to be Optibot's Annihilation versus Dosa's Coalescence. Either one of these could allow Mass Effect to sustain or Galactic Penguins to engage in quick, and it looks like the one team's favoring.
And Eternal going to be able to find Krung. Dosa using that Coalescence early on as well as they try to take the point here. And Dosa going to be able to find Dire Raven. And if you're Mass Effect at this point, I think you just get out of this fight. Take whatever you can. Don't invest ultimates. That's exactly what they do. And that puts them in a much better spot.
Much better spot in terms of not just point percentage, 62 now, only 10 for the Galactic Penguins, but ultimates as well. Pulse Bomb mirrored on both teams, but Levy does have it first if they wanted to try and find some kind of angle to get on top of Gom or Eternal, force out those cooldowns early. Mass Effect also have their Annihilation and their Sound Barriers, so there's so much sustain the Galactic Penguins are going to have to burn through. Eternal so far from that blizzard right now that Mass Effect, they could take it fast and just try and burn them down quick if they wanted.
Krunk, though, very low on health here. Levy showing themselves to try to play a little bit of a distraction, but Gom immediately on the case right there. An Ice Wall coming out. They're not going to be able to stop him. Pulse Bomb, though, from Levy. Not going to be able to find anyone. Actually, no, it does find Dosa right there. So a great early pick and Eternal falling as well. Mass Effect looking like they should be able to win this fight and retake the point right back. But Galactic Penguins are just going to try to hold on to it for as long as they can, but 79 is as much as they get.
And Obtobot and Dire Raven were able to hold ultimates, hold them for so long that now Boo is going to have a blizzard to mirror Eternals. Krunk is going to have a coalescence when Dosa doesn't, and Dosa actually abandoning the Moira altogether goes over to the Baptiste. That amplification matrix is not going to be there for this flashpoint no matter who takes control of it, but going towards third, maybe that's all Galactic Penguins want to play for.
And Galactic Penguins decide to re-engage on this point here. An Ice Wall from Boo does section off a lot of their team. And actually, Mass Effect can allow them to retake the point here. But you already find both supports the grab and the Blizzard being invested here by Galactic Penguins. Going to be able to freeze up what looks like to be one. There, the Colossus coming out here. And the beat from Dire Raven going to be able to come out as well. And it looks like Mass Effect should come out on top here. Yeah, they're finding the picks. They're going to be able to retake the point and send this to a winner-take-all map or point 5.
Heavy ult investment, but they needed it to make sure that they weren't out of this series. Now 2-2 on Flashpoint. Like you mentioned, in the break, we were thinking that Mass Effect didn't look like they really had a leg to stand on this series, but they're showing that, yeah, actually, given the right circumstances, they still can take it to teams like Galactic Penguins. Both teams going to arrive at our final Flashpoint of Bomb Flats at around the same time, but Gom going to be a setup on the Tracer on these off angles a little bit earlier might give them the advantage they need to find that Pulse Bomb and find the pick that they need to start this Flashpoint off.
And look at Big Man going back to the Malga. We haven't seen that all map. Actually, no, we saw it at the start for Galactic Penguins. They kind of got shut down really fast there. So this is kind of a make or break moment for the Galactic Penguins because Mass Effect, in my opinion, I feel like they need just one map to get them just the momentum they need to get back in the series. But you do see Annihilation coming out here from Optibot. Galm going to throw out that Pulse Bomb. Not going to be able to find anyone, but still taking on this Tracer duel right now. One kill going each way, but Optibot being the one falling for Mass Effect is not what you want to see. Boo going to be joining them in the spawn, and Dosa has to use that immortality field to keep themselves alive here, but still Levy just chasing them down. Eventually Dire Raven will be able to find it here, but through all this chaotic mess, Galactic Penguins were able to cap that point and already are 33% and counting.
Big Man Monkey is still alive as well and so healthy. The Malga is going to be so difficult to uproot, especially as Orna comes back with the sound barrier. Gom finally winning out ultimately in that Tracer duel. And yeah, Galactic Penguin just able to keep stalling out this point as Optibot, trying to at least make it to the edge of the map to reset 60% and confidently. This is why this Malga is such a threat. Galactic Penguins have ultimates to work with and a hero that just won't die as they're searching for Boo as well.
Yeah, and that was just a little bit of an unfortunate play there from Mass Effect. They kept on just throwing themselves into a fight that was already lost, staggering themselves out more and more here. And will we even see a touch? A cage fight comes in, immediately traps 3 members of Mass Effect. Can Levy get there in time? No, they cannot. And the Galactic Penguins will take this series 3-0 to move to 2-0 on the season. Mass Effect, though, will fall to 0-2. And like we said, coming into this one, Willowtron, this was kind of a true test for both these teams. Galactic Penguins didn't play week 1. Mass Effect, yeah, they played week 1, went to a map 6 there. They had ringers, they had people playing off roles, and honestly, coming out of this game here, Galactic Penguins really did prove a lot here to us.
And Galactic Penguins noted that they recognized Mass Effect as being a really strong and good team. Both of these teams were here to win. Both of them said that they wanted to play for that victory, but it was Galactic Penguins who really recognized, yeah, Mass Effect are a good team. We can't just take this one easy. Looking at the scoreboard, you could be deceived. I mean, At the end of the day, it looked like there was some life breathed into Mass Effect once Flashpoint came around, but Galactic Penguins, they were playing so well in every duel, playing so well in their overall macro and positioning, responding really well to everything Mass Effect were doing, and taking the initiative whenever they could. It's so rare to see teams in the Harmony tier playing around their cooldowns, backing off when they need to, positioning as they want to, and for Mass Effect, I mean, real recognizes real. I don't think Mass Effect are out of the running, right? There's going to be many more opportunities for them to prove themselves throughout the season, but for Galactic Penguins, I mean, for them to say, we were a little nervous about Mass Effect, and then put up such a confident showing, this is a team that we definitely have to keep watching.
Yeah, and if you've been around Trank for a while here, you know how good this Galactic org is. All the teams really do help out each other here, and you can look at just the team sheet here for this Galactic Penguin squad and see that they have coaches, they have a general manager, they have people that are there to help them, and that's why, like you said, they're playing around these cooldowns. Yeah, we don't normally see that a lot here in this Harmony tier, but when teams are able to do it as good as this Galactic Penguins team was tonight, it makes them incredibly difficult to just beat, and that's what we saw here tonight from Mass Effect. And Mass Effect, this was, we can say it here, this was their first time truly playing as their whole team. I think they need another week here in the lab, go back in, practice a couple more times, scrim, watch over this VOD, because definitely on the last map here, you saw the progression throughout the series. This last map was the closest map, and like I said, they just needed one little spark of hope, in my opinion, in this series to just start something. And if they would have won Junkertown here, or New Junk City, I think we would have potentially seen the start of a reverse sweep. I mean, they were starting to look a little bit more confident, but then that fight on Bomb Flats happened where they just kept staggering into it. And that was the real losing point here, because yeah, that fight was over at about 40%, but they kept staggering all the way until about 70.
Yeah, and that's really the critical thing, is just recognizing when you gotta give up on it, right? You just gotta reset and take it slow. It feels like it's not something we saw Galactic Penguins struggle with. I think when the meta's been in such a shake-up recently, right, you're not really sure which tanks are the strongest, you're not really sure which DPS are the strongest. People are still trying to figure out their backlines even, which is usually something that's pretty cemented earlier on after balance changes happen, right? You know whether it's going to be a Bap Lucio or an Anna Brig or Kiriko is going to be there, but it feels like teams are still struggling to find their footing on that. It does just take time for them to recognize, okay, this is what we want to run, this is how we need to respond if our enemy run this. For Galactic Penguins, they've shown their flexibility, but for Mass Effect, I think we need to give them a little bit more time to figure out what they themselves want to be doing and how they need to respond to their opponents.
Yeah, and it's a long season. Your first 2 weeks do not say anything about how the rest of it will go here. But that will do it for us here tonight at Tranquility. Want to give a quick shout out to everyone behind the scenes who worked very hard throughout this series here. We did have a couple little technical problems, and they did do their very best to fix them throughout the series here. Just want to give a quick shout out to Orange Beam, Vatty, and Mr. Mountain Mike that did a great job getting you everything you saw throughout the stream here tonight. But guys, it's only Monday. There is a lot more Tranquility action going on this week, starting tomorrow with your Transcendence tier matchup of Wyverns and Alternate Voltage. That one will start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune back in for that one for another great series of Tranquility. But that will do it for us here tonight. For myself, Dextron, and Willowtron to my left here, thank you all so much for tuning in, and see you guys tomorrow.